Hey guys, quick disclaimer, I'm aware that this story isn't technically internet horror, but the rage that I feel for Beth as a character is scary enough that I consider it to be internet horror. So, do with that as you will. Having said that, I'm Bex, this is not a deer, and... oh, hi. The 2009 movie Adam, starring Hugh Dancy, romanticizes ableism and incentivizes poor behavior. Anyway, to understand my hatred of Beth, you first need to understand who exactly she is. She is the main female and the love interest of our protagonist. She's a writer, and she's currently working in an elementary school as she drafts a children's book. Her father pampers her and, frankly, treats her like she's the second coming of Christ, which could possibly be part of the reason that she is the worst. Anyway, speaking of her father is a very important businessman, and while I can't remember his name or kind of anything substantial about him or her mother, it's important to know that later he is accused of a crime that drives forward the main conflict of our story. And that leaves us with our final character, Adam Reiki, namesake of the movie. Adam has ASD, which makes it very difficult to process emotions or read most social situations. He's incredibly intelligent, and his special interest is space. Our story starts with Adam leaving his father's funeral. We are immediately introduced to how he processes his emotions, or in this case, doesn't process them, by the way he walks up to a chore chart in the kitchen and removes Dad's chores from the bottom. We then see his daily routine. Get up, tidy, eat, go to work, study the stars, repeat. He seems fine for all intents and purposes, until he begins to run out of clean clothes and the stockpile of safe foods in his freezer depletes to nothing. Because of this, he has to go do laundry, where he meets Beth. Beth is the new neighbor living in the apartment beneath him. They begin to talk, and when their communications become more romantic, Beth reveals that she had a terrible boyfriend in the past, and she would like to keep it slow, which lasts like a total of 20 minutes. Not even that. Anyway, during this time, Adam has been let go from his job. It's implied that his father is the reason he had the job in the first place, and now that his father is dead, it's up to Adam to search for his new job. Being autistic, the idea of a job interview is paralyzing to Adam. He's terrified of not only interacting with potential employers, but the idea that if he fails, he'll lose the house that he's lived in since forever. Because Adam has a girlfriend who supposedly loves him, she helps him practice for the job interview, rehearsing with him and even buying him a book of tips for finding a job whilst on the spectrum. There are some things that Beth does well, like accommodating to Adam's inability to process speech or anything other than literal examples or very straightforward talk. For example, the two of them are job searching and Adam grows discouraged. Beth encourages him by saying she's sure the right thing will come along. Adam, not understanding that this is simply something everyone says to calm another, replies, "Well, how can you be sure?" Beth backtracks and rewords her sentence to, "I hope the right thing comes along." Sweet, right? Wrong. Literally in the same breath, while Adam is talking about his special interest, she tells him to be quiet. Brother. Whew. Similarly, as they've been practicing interactions for a future employer, Adam has been getting better at talking to people. When the two of them attend a party hosted by one of Beth's friends, Adam engages in a conversation with a woman who is interested in buying a telescope. Being passionate about space and viewing it, he begins to infidom, which, yes, can be overwhelming, but upon finding the pair of them, Beth proceeds to interrupt their conversation, which is rude in any context, and then physically drags him away from the woman. Before we continue with the Beth hate, we have to talk about her dad. Adam and Beth go on a date to the theater where her father and mother also just happen to be. They meet and watch the play together. The entire time, Beth's dad is treating Adam like he's a pet, egging him on, telling him to info dump, and then pulling out the rug from beneath his feet. During this whole thing, Beth's father talks to Beth about the fact that he's being accused of a crime. Fraud, I think. Adam, curious, asks if he's guilty. Beth does not like this at all. They have an argument outside the theater, and she tells him not to follow her, which, like, Queen, you live in the same apartment complex. Where else is he gonna go? They get over it, make up, and she apologizes for snapping at him, and then demands that he apologize as well, which confuses him. Their interaction goes something like this. I stand over here for Beth, and I'll stand over here for Adam. You can apologize too, you know. But you said it was your fault. Because it was your fault, Beth. Anyway, she continues to help him prepare for his job interview and yells at him to make eye contact, which is commonly extremely difficult for people on the autism spectrum. Fast forward, and Beth's mom calls, and because Beth isn't home, Adam picks up the phone. Mom tells Adam that Beth's dad pled guilty and is going to jail. She asks Adam to check and see if Beth had something scheduled for that day that could explain why she didn't have her phone. And Adam finds something despicable. Previously, Adam did not want to meet Beth's parents because social interactions stress him out, and he wasn't ready to meet them yet. This conniving, evil little worm planned the coincidental meeting between her parents at the theater because she didn't have the patience to wait for Adam to prepare himself to meet them. Pushing someone is good. Most of the time, people don't try something new unless you push them. But usually, you talk it over. Especially when you're in a relationship. Anyway, Adam, reasonably upset, begins to argue with Beth, who gets defensive. Now, I'm not excusing the behavior they displayed. However, Adam has likely been due for a meltdown since his dad died, and he's just been compartmentalizing everything. He begins to have a panic attack and a meltdown, whatever you want to call it, but he begins to hit himself, which is a common form of stimming when someone with ASD is overwhelmed. Beth, instead of calming him down and discussing it further later, calls him a child and walks away. Are you serious? Yes, Adam lashed out. Yes, he was mean. Yes, he was behaving childishly. But you do not leave your autistic boyfriend to have a meltdown, especially when he's engaging in self-harm. Just because you're pressed, he called you out for lying. Yes, Adam responded poorly. So did you. It takes him time to understand why he responded wrong in the first place. And I'm not saying everyone is made to have a relationship with someone on the spectrum, but there's also a certain level of patience each person should have for another. I understand where both of them are coming from. Both of them made poor decisions, but Beth is just so entitled about it. After the argument, Beth storms out, and after a while, he walks to her parents' house in sub-zero temperatures and says that he needs to talk to her again, and the first thing that she does is say, "Adam, you scared me. I thought you were going to hit me." He went there, 1, to apologize, and 2, to offer to take her to California with him. He got a new job. The job he's been working towards the whole movie. She argues with her dad and follows Adam home. They begin to pack for the California trip, and he asks her why she has nothing ready. She goes, "Just leave me alone for a while." While sitting in his apartment. His apartment. What? So he does, and eventually they chat again. He walks into a room where she's sitting and says, "I love you, Beth." To which she responds, "Adam, why do you want me to go to California with you?" And he says she's like a part of him and that he needs her to help him find a place to live. essentially saying he needs her because she makes coping with his autism easier. And she's like, nah, fam. She follows this up with, if you want me to go because you can't go without me, I can't go. One of the most heartfelt and beautiful things he could have done, and she just goes, actually, no, I don't wanna. It's like he said, you make this life-altering thing I've dealt with, carried on my own for months since my dad died, and coped with since I was a child, a little lighter than it was. You make my life better, and I would like to keep that going into this new change that will be extremely difficult to me. Quick interjection from post-filming Bex, ignore how busted I look. You know for a fact that if Adam were neurotypical and he were to come to Beth and be like, I need you, you make my life easier, she wouldn't have had that reaction. You know for a fact she wouldn't have reacted that way. She'd be like, oh my gosh, that's so romantic. Be for real. Be so for real. And she just goes, no. Yes, he needs to be independent. Yes, he can care for himself. Yes, he can logically do this on his own. It'll just be harder and heavier. But you're treating his confession of love and respect as if he is codependent. As if he is a baby. Wear a badge that says, I hate people with Asperger's because they don't act the way that I want them to. The worst part, she gets rewarded. The end of the movie is her getting her book published, a book she wrote in part about him. Never have I ever beefed so hard with a fictional character, except for maybe Pekka Rollins, but it's really close. There's just no correction for her behavior, and the whole movie makes Adam the bad guy. That all being said, this is not a deer. I'm Bex Wilson, and I'll see you guys next time.